Greetings, good night, good morning, good afternoon, whenever it is that you're watching this video. Welcome to our annual parent meeting. Now, this should be a meeting with at least one parent and then your athlete, your daughter. So welcome to the team. This is girls water polo at Maine West High School in the year 2022. So lots of changes from last year's version of water polo to this year. So some of this will be new to you, even if you were on the team last year and the year before, for that matter. Okay, so a couple different things to go over. So first of all, when you registered on 8 to 18, you should have watched the preseason meeting video that the school put out that included the 24/7 athletic code of conduct. Just want to throw in that vaping is included in that. They also discussed the hazing and bullying. They discussed hate speech and harassment protocols. I'm going to break off and just talk about social media for a second as it pertains to water polo. So I'm going to ask that you please don't post images, pictures taken at the pool during competitions or on deck. If you know the image is just you and your daughter, then that's fine, then you can post, but be sensitive to anything going on in the backgrounds or things like that, or other athletes that you may or may not have permission to post with them. Because of the sensitive nature of our athletes wearing suits, all right, that's the reason why I'm asking you to rethink what you post and if you have permission to post. So eligibility, they talk about that in that video, but just again, how it pertains to our team is our athletes need to be passing 5 classes per week and also per semester. Now, they run an eligibility report once a week at the end of the week, and if a student is ineligible, then they're ineligible for that entire week. That's not something that I'm going to ask permission to break that or anything like that. So we need to make sure that all of our athletes all the time are passing at least 5 classes. Okay, let's talk about attendance too. Okay, not just passing classes, all right, but you also need to be attending at least half the classes per day in order to compete in a game. Okay, so if we have a game on any weekday afternoon, 5:30, 6:30, whatever time it may be, the students have to attend at least half the day. So please keep that in mind as you're scheduling dental appointments, doctor's appointments, anything else that might interfere with a day. In terms of transportation, what's new, different a little bit this year is we will have buses, okay? If you want to take your child home after a game, or if they want alternative ways to get to the game, you need to fill out the travel form. I put that in Google Classroom. So if you would not mind filling that out as soon as you can at your earliest convenience, then I have it on file. It's not something we have to try to figure out on the day of a game because you need to take your daughter home for a birthday party or whatever have you. It would just be really nice if that travel form were completed, again, as soon as possible, so that way it's on file, I got it, and we're good. All right. Communication guidelines. If there's something you have a problem with, or you have a question about, feel free to drop me an email. I don't really have conversations on deck after a game. Okay, but if you want to schedule a time to sit down and talk, great. If you email me your concern, know that I'm probably not going to respond within a 24-hour period. So that's just something we as an athletic department do. And it gives everybody time to calm down if there is a concern, and then speak to each other at an intelligent level. So just know that if you do email me out of concern, I might not respond right away. Okay. Pictured on this video is our team suit. Okay. This is the same one we've had for several years. My plan is to keep it again for next year. So they cost $65 to the bookstore. If you keep it in good condition and only wear it on game days, it should stay for another year, maybe 2, okay, depending on the wear and tear that the suit takes. But it's very common for my athletes to use the same suit for 2 seasons. So I know that that's a hefty cost, but these are custom made suits for us, and they are made with durability that water polo needs. So that's kind of hence the reason for the cost. I don't suggest wearing these at everyday practices, so there should be other suits that the athletes wear for practices. Okay. I will plan to have a team store. The company and I are actually going back and forth as we speak right now. These are not required items for you to purchase. So if the online team store comes out and there's 15 things on there, don't feel any responsibility to buy all of them. They are there if you want them, if your daughter wants them and you're willing to purchase something, great. It's just an opportunity to get some team gear. There is no expectation or requirement or benefit really from ordering lots of things. So feel free to order what you want and not like try to fulfill some sort of requirement. In terms of, let me go back to that. So spring break, we will have practices during spring break, okay? They will be in the mornings, and all that is on the calendar, which I'll show you in a little bit. All right, I'm gonna talk the end of season, okay? So the end of season every season ends with a playoff format. And so we'll go through and we'll have our JV conference championship. It's called an invite. Then we'll have a varsity conference championship the following week. The following week we'll begin sectionals. Okay, now the sectionals are set up geographically usually through the IHSA. So that means we have no power or anything over what teams are in what sectional. So last year we were in the York sectional. The year before that, I don't even remember. It was the Glenbrook, one or the other. They usually host. So we don't know how that will go. But once sectionals begins, it's a playoff format. So if we ever take a loss at that point, then our season is done, essentially. So that's just how the end of season will go. For JV athletes, some of you might be asked to move up to the varsity roster, and some of you will be done. We can't fit everybody on a roster. There's actually roster limitations. But that said, we will have a banquet at the end of the season where we recognize certain athletes for certain things. More on that later. I don't really have a date or a location at this point in the season. We've also had other fundraisers, and we've done Chipotle night in the past. So not really sure. I'm actually looking for, if you have good ideas. We are limited on the amount of fundraisers we have, so I can't go with every idea. If you have good ideas, please email me. I'll give you that towards the end of this, my email address. So if you parents, athletes have good ideas for fundraisers that's better than a Chipotle night, I'm all ears. Senior night. This year I'm trying something a little bit new. I'm asking the seniors to look at the calendar and pick a senior night. I know that may be sensitive for some of the juniors who plan senior night. By the way, traditionally that's what we do, is we have the juniors kind of plan senior night, collect a little bit of money to maybe give a little gift to the seniors. We do have like a little ceremony on senior night. So that will most likely stay near the end of season, but I'm going to actually have a conversation with the seniors, and that will be a talk. I'd like to hear their voice into when they want their senior night. So let me get back to this slide, okay? Pushing away some more of the business type items and more of just what it's like to be kind of on the team. So first of all, with that is I will introduce myself. Okay, my name is Drew Schneider. This is my 7th year here coaching at Maine West and teaching. So I haven't always been a teacher. I'm a career changer. I switched into teaching about 12 years ago, 14 years ago, something around there. And but I have been a coach for most of my life, pretty much since I entered college. I've been coaching water polo, so that's a pretty long time. Hasn't always been at Maine West. I've coached at other places. But if you really want to dig in, there's more on myself on the website, which I'll show you in a minute. Okay, and then also Coach Sarah Leon is my assistant coach. She and I go way back. I coached her when she was in age group. She's a former professional athlete. She played it collegiately. She was a former head coach at St. Viator. So we are so lucky to have Sarah. I'm super excited to be coaching with her, and she's great with the kids. Okay, you'll love her too. Okay, so the calendar with the games and practices, let me break off and show you that and then come back to this slide. So just to start at the kind of the beginning, sorry, the web page I guess has to load again. But here's your athletic page okay, with also some of the links for for forms and resources where you can actually find some of like the video is on there and then any of the other forms. We have a travel release form in Google Classroom, but you can also find it here. Okay, so this is the Maine West Athletics site. All right, complete with 8 to 18 log on, their own online store. This is just like the general athletics one. Boosters links, if you wanted to get involved in boosters, we would love that. We have a couple parents who already are. So that would be fantastic if you want to join up with boosters. They're great to us, by the way. All right, so I'm scrolling down to spring sports, and here's girls water polo. This is the schedule that the school kind of puts out, so it's a more general schedule. If you're looking for the most up-to-date with possible changes, recent changes, you're going to go here and click this. Okay, and then this takes you to our website. Okay, this is the one that I make actually. So it's got highlights on the homepage, some videos, a nice little like Google Slides thing that kind of goes automatically. So that's like the for fun parts. Okay, we have our calendar here. You can actually add it. At the bottom, there's a button where you can add it to your calendars that you can turn on or off. Okay, that's down here. So with the plus Google Calendar slide. All right, but you can see on here our games. Our practices are on here. So if you add it, a lot of the things are color coded for away and home. On the generic one here on the website, it's just kind of all blue. If we're away, it normally has the @ sign. So for example, this one, varsity at Hoffman Estates. All right, so that one will say it'll have the @ sign in there. Okay, and then here's our calendar. You can scroll through as needed. You can see kind of like how the endings can come, sectionals, and then state are here. Conference championship is here. All right. JV would be the weekend before. That's kind of how things end. You have games in the meantime. All right. Again, the away games are going to have the @ sign. So this would be your chance. You can leave it on the website. You can add it to your Google Calendar. Totally up to you. But as the season rolls out, if there are changes that need to be made, they will be on this calendar. So I have access and control to this calendar. The generic one that the school has, I don't have access to. So I have to go through a variety of other people to make changes there. Okay, I'm going to talk about tournaments for this year. They're going to be a little bit different than last year. We didn't even have tournaments that much last year. We had one try where we went there and we played games really fast and then we went home. This year, this version of water polo season, we now have tournaments. Whenever I get a tournament schedule, I'll put it up on this website, and then you can see if I add in the bus times, I'll put that on here too. So if you're wondering the bus times, that's where you go. Okay. You can see the Maine West tournaments are already on there with the dates. Okay. That said, if you look at some of our tournament schedules, all right, they can be rather long on Saturdays. So you should plan to have some sort of idea of how we're going to get meals. There are concession stands at a lot of the tournaments. I can't guarantee that there will be. So in the years past, students have often like come with like salads, and then other students would bring, or athletes will bring like pierogies, and then other athletes might bring pasta. So really, this is great for like the kids to get together and talk about like what they're going to bring to the tournaments, because as you can see, they're kind of long, and we don't always have the opportunity to leave and go get food and come back, depending on the schedule, because the tournaments happen pretty rapid fire. So, for example, one of our games is right here. There's a game break, and then we play again. So there's not really a lot of time to go load up a bus, drive somewhere, eat, drive back, and then on top of it, warm up for the next game. So anyway, it's best that the students or the athletes kind of get together and talk about what they're going to bring in terms of food. Okay. So as each tournament comes up, I'll have conversations with the girls, but I think it's really important for you as the parents to know that there needs to be some sort of plan to keep them like nourished in between games. Okay. Again, if you have questions, ideas, you and some other parents want to get together and like do a pasta party thing, I encourage that. Go ahead and send me an email. Okay. Or we can start communicating with each other beyond like this video. So, all right. So that's the calendar with the games and the practices, the Maine West site. Okay, I do have a remind going. If you were on the remind last year, for whatever reason, when they switched over the new school year, it got deleted. Don't know how or why, but so please rejoin the remind. If I need to shoot something out, like today, such and such team canceled, or if there's some quick change like that, I'll try to use the remind for just that. So I'm not texting you constantly, like, different updates that aren't really relevant right now. I try to make like any type of sudden change the remind type of thing. So if you can text this to this number, the application that I use is called Remind. If you were wondering what Remind is, it's an application that allows me to send out mass texts to everyone who's involved in it. You get them actually from the high school itself if there's ever like a closure, like a snow day or something like that. All right. Again, we went over tournaments. There'll be buses that we schedule at a certain time. The athletes need to know what time the school has scheduled the bus. Okay. Expectations, priorities, and time management. All right. So let's talk about that. So now that you see the calendar with the practices and the games, the expectations are that the athletes are at every single one of our practices, every single one of our games. We're not a club. This isn't a hobby. We're an organized team, and we depend on each other all the time. All right. And that's at practice. That's at games. This is the difference between a team sport like water polo and an individual sport. Not that the individuals also don't rely on each other, but to a much greater degree with a team sport, we really rely on people. We teach all of our athletes to play certain roles, all right? And those roles are trained and learned over time. If we're missing somebody, like it affects everybody on the team. So the expectations are there that the student athletes are there for everything. Now, of course, like as a fellow parent, life happens. There's dental appointments. There's religious events. There's a wide variety of things that happen. So please just communicate with me so that, again, if we're thinking we're relying on somebody to show up and play goalie for us, and then there's a back out, at least I know that, and I can pull an athlete aside and prepare them for that type of event. So please just communicate with me. If you email me and say so-and-so can't make it today because of a dental appointment, I'll just use that as an example again, then I might not even reply, but I'll get the email and I will note it as best as I can and try to remember about all my athletes and all the different time conflicts that they have. Okay. All that said, let's talk about academics for a minute. Now, everyone on this team, academics comes first, okay? So if your athlete falls behind, just talk to me. If they need go to office hours, if they need a day to study, they need to go take an extra test with a teacher, I'm on board with all that. So I'm full on with academics come first and our priority. That said, one of the things your athlete will learn is time management, okay? It's an important skill for our athletes to learn. So they need to learn that they need to fit in practices, tournaments, games, and then also get their homework done, okay? So we can give them extra time if needed, if they struggle with something, but we'd really want to say upfront, like first learn how to manage your time so that you're getting everything you need done, completed. So that would be something that I kind of tag along with that conversation of what our expectations are. Of course, life happens with families and religious things and academics, all right? But we really want the student athletes to also learn time management skills, okay? Let's talk playing time for a second, okay? We are going to try to play on 2 levels this year. Last year, we did a little bit of JV, but we had to incorporate some varsity starters because we just didn't have the numbers to fulfill 2 teams. This year, I'm going to try to run with 2 teams. Our numbers are a little bit up compared to what they were last year. So we're going to try to run with 2 teams, okay? On varsity, okay, let's just talk about that. We, of course, like the effort is to win. That's why everyone works hard throughout the year is they have a commitment to winning. So we balance playing time as best as we can with attendance, attitude, and winning. All right. So it's not a win at all costs type of concept. But we also have to consider that everyone puts in a lot of work for us to achieve those wins, and that's why they work so hard. So that's what varsity is about. Again, we're balancing attendance, attitude, winning, and things like that, because that's what everybody's trying to do. On JV, we look at JV as more developmental. Yes, we're going to try to win every game that we play. However, developmental comes at the forefront. So we're going to do our best to balance out playing time a little bit more on the JV level than we would on the varsity level. Okay. And if players need extra time because maybe they might not be getting in as much during the varsity game, then we might use JV as an opportunity to get them more playing time. So those are the expectations of what you should see in terms of playing time when we start playing games. All right. It is possible on varsity that a senior could not be starting and a freshman could. It is possible on varsity that an athlete could get on the bus, drive with us all the way to Deerfield, for example, and not play the game if the opportunity doesn't set itself right for that particular athlete. It is possible that that could happen. We try really hard to not make that happen. But again, we're doing the best we can to try to balance out all those different concerns. So on the JV level, there is a little bit more of a focus on developing all athletes, giving everybody a little bit of time at least. And on our team, it's possible that there could be a senior on JV. Again, it's possible that there could be a freshman on JV. So I want to just make that upfront and clear for everybody watching this video. So that's how things are done. So that way you and I know what our expectations are. So other than that, give me just a second to go through the slides and see if there's anything that I didn't cover. Okay, last thing, as I look at it, our picture day is 3/17. Okay, so that date is coming up pretty fast. And our banquet, again, I don't have a venue for it yet, but I'm open to ideas if any of you parents have ideas. Last year we had it outside on the deck of the pool. That was kind of nice. We lucked out with weather where we didn't have to worry about any like bad weather going on. So that was pretty neat, and we liked it outside. I'm open to hearing you if you want to have it at the same place, and then also then like have ideas for what we can do for food. We had some really good ideas last year and a really good video. So thank you to the parents that contributed to that. Again, I'm just trying to look through if there's anything else that I needed to cover. Okay, so here's my email address. If you please note it down, it's A Schneider. So A is long for Andrew. My friends call me Drew. By the way, parents, if you want to approach me in that way, that's fine. For the rest of the athletes, I'm Coach Schneider. They call me Schneitz sometimes, and I'm okay with that. Or Coach S, any one of those things from the athletes. But if you want to contact me, you have questions, you want to follow up, you have ideas for certain things, love to hear them. Otherwise, have yourself a great day.